What's up, folks? Welcome. Why am I so bright? Hold on. Too much light. They're trying to make me like light-skinned Chris Williams from New Jack City or something. Yeah. Never liked you anyway. That was my part right there. You light-skinned. What's up, everybody, man? I hope you guys are seeing us. Looks like we're live. I believe we are. We are using StreamYard once again, and as you can tell, if you look in the, I guess you guys are seeing it in your top right corner, I think, left, whatever, here, this way. You're seeing our logo or our thumbnail, which means, yeah, I went ahead and we're gonna go ahead and pay for it, man. I think I do like the StreamYard service. The only drawback, again, though, is we won't be able to. You know, it's not a big deal. I just won't be able to hear alerts and things when you guys may donate or something like that. Not a big deal, but I think now we will at least be able to add video clips, as you just saw there. And by the way, StreamYard, I hope that clip that I just played doesn't have copyright infringement on it with that music. Don't play us like that. If you're going to give us this video, it better be user-friendly. So, but what's up, folks? We are here. We decided to start a little later tonight, man, because frankly, we don't have much to talk about. We really only have two topics on the docket. And once we're done with that, we don't really have nothing else unless you guys have something in the chat. Another caveat, we'll have to figure out how we may do phone calls going forward. I think with this system, you know, you can have up to X amount of people on it. So we may just shoot people a link and like do it the old way again. And, you know, whether you want to be on camera or not will be up to you. But at least doing it like this, I think Smitty and I will both still be able to hear you. Because if we use Blog Talk, I think then that's when it gets a little crazy. I don't think Smitty would be able to hear you guys. We'd have to do that whole have him call in. But we'll see. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's well. We will give our quick introductions and then we'll dive into the topics. So like we always do, Smitty, how was your week? How's everything been going? Anything you may have on your mind outside of the noted topics to discuss?
Everything's been good, man. You know, just right now, the big thing that's going on is just mulling over what the Lions, you know, these mock drafts. So mulling over, like the big thing here is the whole 7th pick situation. Should we trade down? Should we, you know, not get a quarterback? If we trade down,
7.
Yeah, yep, we're a 7th pick. So
that's a good discussion, though, Smitty, man. That we stumbled into here on the fly.
Yeah, because it's like,
what guy?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, this is the thing. This is what they're saying on the radio. Okay, it's like this. The whole thing, a big pendulum swing is: should we roll with Goff, see what he possibly can bring to the table, or should we, with that 7th pick, groom the QB for the future, like get that future quarterback, and just let Goff play out his contract, get rid of him regardless of what he does. But the other side of it is wait till next year to get the quarterback. So with this year, it doesn't put as much pressure on if you're trading, because I think it was from Mel Kiper did a mock draft. I didn't check it out. When I heard it on the radio, it was like after they already talked about what the scenario was that Mel Kiper said in the mock draft, which basically we traded with someone. I think we may have traded with the Jets or somebody, but we traded our first round pick, so we would have the 12th pick instead, and a second pick, another second rounder. So at that point, it takes the pressure off of having to pick one of the top guys or a quarterback or any of that. That takes that pressure completely off, and now it's like we can get the next best, you know, whoever is the best player available at that spot. And then, you know, that would fit our needs to a degree. And now we're good. We're not banking so much on, we got to get the QB of the future. right now and everything. Like we don't, because we're not going to have the pick of the litter like that. Potentially we won't. Possibly, because it's quite possible all the quarterbacks, all those top tier QBs may be gone by the time 7 comes around. So it's very possible that could happen. But in the event that does not happen, us being pushed back, that takes a lot of the pressure off of us. So there's that part. Plus, second round, there's all kinds of talent that you could get in the second round. And we would have 2 picks there. Plus, we got 2 threes because we got the pick from the Rams this year. Then on top of that, we'll have the 3 first rounders I'm sorry, 2 first rounders next year. And see, this is the other part as well. The whole not getting the quarterback thing is contingent upon the Lions sucking next year. See, what guys are expecting is for us to be absolutely terrible next year, not really do anything at all because it's new regime, new everything. For us to mess around and only like win less than 5 games. So you're banking on that. So it's like, don't worry about getting a quarterback this year, roll with Goff, but then next year get the QB, especially with the fact you got the 2 first rounders. Mm-hmm. So that's why but see, that's the logic that he's going with. And it's like, the one thing about it is, I know the team is pretty much in shambles, but what if they mess around and win like 6-7 games? What if they actually do a decent job this year? You know what I'm saying? Now, they may not make the playoffs, but at the same time, they could still do good enough. And then now you're talking about a higher top, now you're talking about a pick that's going to be, it's a first rounder. And it still is the quote unquote, the lottery, so to speak, because you didn't make the playoffs. But you're not picking toward the top of the chart anymore. So do you want to take that chance? You see what I'm saying? Do you want to bank? So it's like, this is why I said when it came to getting the Matthew Stafford pick, that whole deal, right this exact moment, the Rams got the better of the deal because we're not going to know. It's all going to be contingent upon these draft picks that we get. Now, if Jared Goff plays good ball and everything, then it'll balance out. But if these draft picks don't really do anything, or they do little to nothing, then we completely lost out. That would be absolutely nuts considering we would have all those first round picks. But that's what's being tossed around here in Michigan. So it's like a lot of speculation and just trying to weigh and balance the scale on both sides. Like, are we going to go this way with the quarterback? Are we going to go this way with, possibly, if anything, possibly go linebacker? You know what I mean? Definitely not going to go corner, but go with a linebacker. That's what they're talking about, like going linebacker with the first pick, with that first pick.
Stay away from Zaven Collins.
So you said what?
Y'all stay away from Zaven Collins. I'd love to see him in a Pittsburgh uniform. My goodness.
So, we'll see what ends up happening. But we're gonna need somebody too, because I don't think Jared Davis is gonna be here much longer. Even though Dan has said that he just happened to mention his name in his initial presser and everything like that, like how he liked Jared Davis, him being a hard hitter and everything like that. So it's like, will they really keep him though when it comes to full evaluation at the end of the day? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what ends up happening. And that's what I'm saying. Like Luce is saying, he got the cornerback. I'm like, I don't know. And that's once again what I'm saying. If the Lions trade back, if they trade backwards in the order, then you have the luxury. Who's the best player at 12? Oh, if it's a cornerback, well then go ahead and take him. If it's not a cornerback, okay, well then you don't need to take them. At the end of the day, you need to get as many young people in here as you can. You need to be like Detroit. Detroit. You need to be like the Pistons. You need to be like the Pistons. You need to be like what the Tigers have been. Yes, they looked absolutely terrible and all that stuff, but that's rebuild. You know what I'm saying? You're bringing in young guys. You're calling dudes up from 1A and AAA and all that stuff, whatever. You're trying to figure out who works and who doesn't and draft players accordingly, potentially sign guys along the way, and you're trying to figure out the formula and then start building up towards something. That's what the Pistons were doing this year. They're trying to get rid of Blake. You know what I'm saying? Now they basically shut him down. They're trying to get rid of him now. They're trying to find some kind of deal possibly to get him out. And when you look at, but when you look from the beginning of the season until now, Jeremy Grant was really the only surefire talent that we really had. I mean, Plumlee was okay, but he's not no great world-beating talent. But the bottom line is that now these players are starting to gel a bit together. They're starting to play a bit more for one another. And you're seeing these rookies start to show some life, you know, with some consistency, Sadiq Bey and such like that. So you're seeing these guys start to come up. So it's like, this is the kind of stuff you need to do process-wise in terms of building up your squad. I want to see the same thing with the Lions. Like, get them youngsters in there. You know, sign who you need to sign, try to fill some gaps. And after that, work it out from there. So, I know we need defense, no question. We definitely do need defense. But see, this is the thing at the end of the day. You can go from being 1-15 and turn right around and mess around and be 12-4, all because of coaching. You see what I'm saying? And it could be, and you can mess around and only sign, I don't know, you can make 2 or 3 signings. And I'm not saying they got to be big time home run hitters, but you can turn around a football team just that fast in the NFL. It could go just like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to 100%. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't be surprised if, oh yeah, and that's the other thing too, Dr. Funk. Thank you. That I forgot about that too. Galladay may be shipping him off somewhere. So it's like, if we ship him off, you see what I'm saying? That's the other thing too. So it just really there's a lot of factors, which is cool. I'm okay with it, but I'm just like, at the same time, because Galladay is injury prone. So I'm like, I'm not bugging if he goes, because he's going to want to get paid somewhere. And it's like, why end up tying that money into him? And, and this is a rebuild. Galladay's not old, but still, let him go ahead somewhere else where he may have a chance to do something. Maybe we could trade him for some draft capital or something like that, and then just continue working it out, just like what Troy Weaver did. I know people feel salty about the D Rose move and all that, but still, you throw in Dennis Smith Jr. If he's worth anything, cool, you use him, you got him on the cheap. But you got another draft pick out of him. So once again, that's another capital, a draft capital that you could use to build your team up and make it even better. That's it. So you got to work, you got to wheel and deal the best way you can. And if the Lions do a similar kind of thing, I'm not going to be mad at it, because I want to see how all of these guys work as a collective. We're looking on paper at what these guys all did individually in respective teams and everything, which has been good, because these guys are all coming from winning situations. But now let's see what happens when you have these guys in these first time positions and they're trying to make it all come together. That's what's going to make it so interesting. That's why there's so much intrigue here right now. It's around the draft and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens, man. Fun times.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at the draft order. Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville, New York Jets. That's a wild card. You don't know what they might do with Sam Darnold. Miami. I don't know if they're going to draft a quarterback. I think, they just got Tua. The Falcons, possible. Matty Ice is, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Is it time for you at this point? Sometimes you got to look at where you're drafted. I mean, what they went 4 and 12. Are you going to be in another premier position like this again? You're expecting your team to get better. So you might want to grab the guy now if you think he's one of these guys is it, a Mac Jones, a Justin Fields, or, one of those dudes, the kid from, I forget his name. I think one of them is from BYU. I think. Philadelphia, well, Cincinnati before them, they not drafting the quarterback. Joe Burrow was it. Philly, maybe. You never know how much are they really gonna put into Jalen Hurts now that they've traded Carson Wentz. So you kind of get the impression that they're going to go ahead and hand over the reins to Jalen Hurts, and if they draft a quarterback, I mean, again, you could say, well, they're going to need backups. Yeah, man, but it's kind of like you went out on the limb last year and you got Hurts, so it's and then there's y'all at 7, so it's possible. I think at least 2 or 3 of those guys are there at 7. So
it's possible, man. It's
very possible because it's
like
you could come to the conclusion that, let's say, Miami, Bengals, and the Eagles are not taking a quarterback. They might, but you could kind of look at that and say they're not taking a quarterback.
Right.
So then that leaves Jacksonville, which we know Trevor Lawrence. That leaves the Jets. That's a wild card. Falcons, that's a wild card, and then y'all. So one of those guys are there. So you're right. That'd be interesting, man. I would love to be sitting at 7 right now. In light of, I saw somebody, I think Luke said, we heard Ben might be gone. Like, no. And if you know the Steelers stuff like I do, no, Ben has already said he wants to come back. He met with Mr. Rooney. They say they want him back now. It's about getting the contract together. Yada, yada, yada. So we'll see what happens with that. But this would be, man, I envy this. I wish we were sitting at 7. This is your time. If you wanted to get one of these guys, again, we always got to look at it like this too, folks. I tell Steelers fans this all the time. Maybe because I kind of cover them now, quote unquote. My heart is still in it, but I step away from that sometimes and look at things objectively. How do the teams value some of these guys? Now, we're looking at him as, Trevor Lawrence was and he was amazing college quarterback. I like Justin Fields too. I think Mac Jones is cool. I think Trask has some potential. I don't know if he's a top 10. I keep forgetting the other. Somebody remind me, what's the other dude's name, man? Is it Kevin something? I think he played at BYU, but he's another one of those dudes that's going to be sneaky good. The Trey Lances of the world, who, of course, due to COVID, he only played 1 game, I think. But arguably Trey Lance is another one of these guys that got some talent. But how do these NFL teams value them? And that's the thing you always got to ask yourself. Even though we're fans, the team might have somebody else rated higher on their big boy, and they draft this guy instead of drafting a guy you expect. Zach Wilson. That's it. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
But we'll see, man. I ain't really got much to add with the Steelers. Let's wait and see what Ben Roethlisberger's contract negotiation ends up being. I think they're going to do the voidable years thing. It only makes sense. I don't think he's going to take a pay cut. That's just, my gut feeling. What's crazy is I saw a statistic today in his career. I think he was actually, I got it on my phone here, guys. Give me a second and I'll read it to y'all. because I knew Ben had made some money. I was saying this on Tuesday night, but let me give y'all the actual. Where is it? All-time NFL earnings through 2020. I'm going to read from the 10th on up. Number 10 is A. Smith, which I believe is Alex Smith, $189 million.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Number 9, Smitty will appreciate this one. Matthew Stafford, $226 million.
Yeah.
Number 8, Aaron Rodgers, $241 million. Number 7, Phillip Rivers, $243. Number 6, Matt Ryan, $244. Number 5 is Peyton Manning at $248. Number 4 is Eli Manning, $252. Number 3 is Big Ben Roethlisberger. Get a whiff of this, Steelers fans. Ben Roethlisberger has earned to date $253 million. Now, like I told y'all, my selfishness was like on Tuesday. I said, listen, I'm never going to tell a guy to take less money, yada, yada, yada. But a small smidgen of me is like, Ben, come on, man. Do what you got to do to get the cap down. Come on, dude. 253 of them things. Like, you literally, I know this sounds crazy, but when you've made that much money, making 19 more, I mean, that ain't even putting a dent into the amount of wealth that you got, because he's made other money with endorsements. It's like,
oh yeah,
come on, buddy, do something. Let's get this, work this thing out. Number 2 is Tom Brady. Now this is interesting because a lot of people say that Brady is, always did a lot of pay cuts, which he did, but you got to again think of how long he's been playing. They got him at number 2 with $263 million. And number 1 so far all time, and let's keep in mind that young boy that we all know, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to pass this. I'm pretty sure he's going to pass. He's already got the 250, but they got he hasn't earned it yet. So, but Drew Brees is number 1 with $269 million over the course of his career. Now that sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it, folks? But when you take a look at these contracts that, like, old boy just signed the other day, baseball contract. Wow. You look at some of these contracts like Harden and these dudes, like, football is still, in my opinion, and I know it's crazy, we're talking millions. I mean, this money would change any of our lives. But it's still like one of the lowest paid. And to me, it's one of the rougher sports. You know what I mean? And with the guarantees, and you don't know, like, look at Dak. It's just, I wish football would kind of get on board with basketball and baseball contracts, man, where the players are getting the majority of their bread. Because, I mean, listen, I know that's a lot of money, but, look at how much the owners are making if they're paying this out. But that's all I got. We'll see what happens with the Steelers. I don't really have nothing to add here. I did all that on Tuesday. And yeah. Like my man here, Zaven Collins. Yeah, Thad, I'm really, really looking at this guy. I don't think so. He said he's a Raven, one of my favorite players in the draft. Y'all know how the Ravens do in Steelers. A lot of times the Steelers and the Ravens are looking at the same guy, and a lot of times Cincinnati falls in there and they swoop somebody from under us. But I think if I look at this draft order again, any of these teams could take a nice linebacker. Raiders. I mean, most of these teams could take a nice. This guy, go watch him play, guys. He plays for Tulsa. He's 6'5", 260. I mean 6'4", 260, and can move like fast. He's a freak. So somebody's gonna grab him. But I think if he's sitting there at 24. Don't be surprised, Steelers fans, as much as y'all want a running back. And if Najee Harris is there, I do think that's a chance the Steelers might jump out the window and go first round on a running back. But you think of that pairing. Look at the Super Bowl. Devin White, Levante David. You can get that kind of combination in the inside. So Steelers fans, Devin Bush and Zaven Collins. he could be ranked high on the Steelers board. So don't be surprised, man. The draft is always interesting because the teams usually draft people that you don't always expect. But all right, we off of that, man. Where do we want to start, Smitty? And I think, guys, here with StreamYard, I think I'm actually might be able to show a video as we're talking. If I remember correctly, I think I could do this little perspective here. Let's try it real quick, guys, before we get started. Let's try something. Y'all go see us try something in real time. I'm going to share my screen. It's giving me tips here. Sharing works the best on a good computer. Some screen. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. And I want to share.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Nelly. There we go. Oh, we got it. We got it. All right. So when it's time, we'll do that. We'll share the screen and we'll show a little bit of that video. Maybe I'll cut the audio off because I don't know if they monetize channel or whatever. I don't want them trying to get me for. But we want to talk about. Well, let's do that last. First, let's talk about EA and the announcement that at least right now there's 2 teams that have already come out and stated that they're not going to participate in EA's upcoming college football game. First thing I want to say about that, Smitty, is for you guys that even were in my chat last night, while I was streaming, people were saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see what this game is going to be this year." Like, guys, we have to. I'm not picking on anybody, but if we are all in this gaming community, I need you guys to be up on the information. Like, it's not coming out this year.
You're right.
It's not happening this year. It might. I mean, a slim might be next year, but it's probably more like 2023. So that's the first thing. Let's stop thinking that we're going to be playing a college football game in a couple months. Like, come July. It's not going to happen. But anyway, Notre Dame and now Northwestern, we learned today, both of these teams, or schools rather, are saying that they're not going to be a part of the game. And honestly, it's, in my opinion, I don't disagree with their reasoning. Notre Dame was the first one to say it, and now Northwestern is basically saying they're kind of following suit. They really don't want to be a part of it until they can figure out what's going to happen with players being compensated, from the NCAA and such. This is interesting because it makes me wonder how they're going to do it. What it does immediately, Smitty, and I know Smitty knows this because I told you guys, Smitty is our gaming historian. He knows Smitty don't seem to forget nothing when it comes to these games. I mean, I'm talking all the way. Listen, I remember stuff too, but Smitty will actually tell you, no, that was Madden 01. No, because see, in Madden 03 they had, and I'm like, how in the world does he remember? Like, Smitty's good with that. So Smitty will appreciate this. Remember, like Bill Walsh? I think it's gonna kind of be something like that, where let's just say a bunch of teams, decide that they're gonna follow suit, because it could happen. Y'all know the whole monkey see, monkey do mentality in business. And again, I don't have a problem with it if their real reason is that, look, let's figure out this player situation first before. Great. My hat's off to you guys if that's what your real take is, and if it's not some type of underlying political thing, like that we don't know about. But if that's your real reason, I applaud that. But what if it gets to a point where it hasn't been worked out and most teams are saying, nah, we're not going to be a part of it? Well, I envision a modern day Bill Walsh college football. It'd be a college football game, and it might be, I remember back then, it would be like College Station was a team, which who that was. I can't remember all the teams that were in it, but they would do stuff like that. It would be like Ann Arbor or something, like, who that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think they even had a South Bend team in there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll end up seeing that, a situation like that, Smitty, if enough teams come out and say they're not going to participate. And shout outs to SGO because I saw their video earlier today. I didn't know this, but they said that Illinois has already said that they would be a part. So it makes you wonder, would it be a situation where literally they're just grabbing whatever teams y'all want to be in it, come on, and then the other teams just won't be in it, and I don't know.
I mean, we had it like that. So that's the thing, like you said, like gosh, what was the game back on Genesis? Sega did their NCAA football because remember that was when getting colleges in the game in general was the thing. And they didn't have all the colleges. It was like they had like 30 or 40 colleges in the game. And that was like a big deal at that point. You know what I'm saying? I think it was called College Football USA or something like that. That they came out with. And it was like it got 35, 45 schools, official licenses and everything. So it was like, oh snap, like that was a big deal. And even Bill Walsh, same deal. Like, yeah, you didn't have every single school, but you tried to put other schools in there. Like, you don't have to have Notre Dame officially in there, but you could still have where they at in South Bend or whatever.
South Bend, yeah.
So it's like you could call the school South Bend and still put them in there. You see what I'm saying? So they still could do it. It's not, so it's not out the realm of possibility for them to do that, or Northwestern. Like you can associate a city or something like that with it and still put them in there. Because remember, Madden 64, remember y'all, in that game, remember that year that on the 64, they didn't have the team licenses. So they only had the player licenses. So you had San Francisco, Foxborough, Detroit, all those like Green Bay, like so it was Green Bay, but they couldn't say Packers.
You couldn't say the Packers. I remember that.
Yeah. So it was like you could put the colors, like you can have the gold helmets and the navy, colored uniforms with the white numbering. It just would be South Bend. So they can still do all of it. So you know what I mean? But it's like they're trying to do it the official route and get as many of the schools as possible in there. But they don't have to though, Yeah. And I mean, and look, check this out. This is the other thing too. I wanted to just spotlight this real quick. The college football revamp people, I didn't think they'd be able to do this, to be quite honest. It was one thing for them to mess with the score, the score overlays and stuff like that in the game. These dudes actually are tampering with the game and how it actually functions now in terms of core gameplay stuff. And now they said in their most recent update they put out a few days ago, whatever, they actually added RPOs in there. You know what I'm saying?
With that, just to make sure, because I think I missed it until I seen a video the other day and I heard somebody say, oh, it's on PC too. So at first I thought it was only a modded version of like the one on console, but they have the revamped mod on PC also.
Well, yeah, if you have the emulator, this PS3, if you have the PS3 emulator on your computer, you get a copy of that NCAA on there, just like how dudes be doing.
Yeah, I got that. That's how I've been playing it, is on the emulator.
Yeah, so you get the stuff, then go on the site or whatever, you download the stuff or however you got to do it, and then you load it in there and play it off of all that. So yeah, it's like they're switching the game up. So it's like, I mean, listen, I know the game came out in 2014, y'all. I get all that. But at the same time, if you really are that bent on like, oh, man, I got to play with Notre Dame, because you do have those that are going to feel that way. You could play this right now. You know what I mean? And it's like these guys are actually they're tweaking the actual game. Like they're tinkering with gameplay, mechanical kind of stuff in the game now. I'm like, that's crazy. Because I honestly thought all they'd be able to do is mess with visuals. That's it. Like overlays, score bug, whatever. I never was thinking like, oh, they're gonna be able to do stuff as far as how plays run and function. Now these dudes and created RPOs and custom plays and all that. It's like custom plays that wouldn't be something you could normally do, but it's like they're breaking it. They're breaking it down, just like how he was doing the hex editing with APF back then. Like that was like the unique thing. Like, oh snap, you cracked the code, and it's like now these guys are cracking the code beyond just the score bug stuff. This is even bigger than Sabo and them. You know what I mean? Because they couldn't truly augment core gameplay like that. You know what I mean? So these guys are really augmenting gameplay, like CPU logic kind of stuff. They're tampering with, like they're doing some stuff to this game now. So that's I like that. I give them all the props in the world on it. But I just want to say that real quick. But when we're talking about this NCAA situation here, see, that's the one thing, like what Sim said. We're talking about a game that number one, we don't know specifically when these guys even started working on this game. So for Sim to say this may be another 2 years away, that's not far-fetched. Now, this game could come out next year because, I mean, that would be pretty crazy to announce it only to not have anything to be seen next year. But that wouldn't surprise me because it's been so long and people really have like just the announcement that, oh, there's about to be an NCAA game. People will be cool with just that. You know what I mean? Right now, and then actually see legit progress. But like, you know, how we've been talking about it here and seeing you guys even in the chat. I mean, excuse me. Like what you guys are saying, NCAA got to get the stuff right with the players and all that stuff and everything, because that's what held EA back in the first place, was because of the whole athlete, you know, getting paid and all that jazz going on. So since all of that isn't fully resolved yet anyways, I can understand some people going away. Now, this is the other thing too. They may be, see, that's the other part about it too, Sim. This game could be coming out sooner than later, because if this game was possibly, and I mean, I'm not saying it's coming out this year, but I'm saying this may be a game that's coming out next year, because why would we be worried about Notre Dame saying they're not going to be a part of it right now, or Northwestern saying it right now, if this game wasn't going to be something coming out possibly 2 years down the line? You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't, that wouldn't be a big deal. It's like, oh, okay, like whatever. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I hopefully the game is good. You know what I mean? Like, we got to see how this game plays. We don't need a reskinned version of Madden or anything like that. We definitely don't need that. Like, we need this game to pop in its own right. You know what I mean? And like, there needs to be a new tone set with football video gaming. Because like what me and Sim, like what Sim, when we were chatting offline before we started up the show, like, it's been a mighty long time since we had a game that we would be like, hey, yo, you good? You good? Is everything all right? Like, you know, us being family man and everything like that. Are y'all good over here? Y'all good over there? Is everything straight? Bet I'm going to jump on the sticks. Because you're excited to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, excuse me, when I got Spider-Man, when I got Red Dead Redemption, when I got GTA, when I got those games, right now. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? like those are games I was like, yo, I can't wait to get home and play this. Like, you know, like those games were extremely exciting and highly anticipated games. I used to anticipate Madden and NCAA football every single year because, oh man, I want to see what they did new. I want to see what they did to take XYZ up. I want to see what Madden did as far as owner mode or gameplay and all that stuff, and see how it all comes together. Like, that's something I've been wanting to see. We don't have that now. You know what I mean? It's just a very linear process. And I mean, look, NCAA still does have that allure of, we're playing a game that, yes, it's old. Yes, it's looking primitive to a degree, but it has some good stuff in it. It has the recruiting stuff and trying to get people to come to your school and everything like that. You have that whole allure. You have coaches with abilities and traits and stuff like that. And then you got the coach carousel on top of that and everything too. So it's like there's a lot of allure that just can keep you further engaged. Yeah. Like all of that will keep you engaged for years to come playing this game. That's why it still has life. But a game like Madden used to have it as well, but it wasn't as deep as an NCAA, of course, but at the same time, it still had a lot of depth in its own right. That was like, dang, NCAA got depth beyond measure in this extent in their own way, but then Madden does too in their own way in terms of giving you got your college experience over here and what happens with the NCAA, and then you got your stuff with the NFL. And that's what we've been missing for numerous years, is that whole immersive feeling of having that NFL football gaming experience. It's been missing. And we're seeing it done in other games and everything like that. And, I'm not about to go down that road and sound like it's a rant or anything, but it's just, we know that, it's been missing for so long. So it's like, if NCAA is going to come back into the fold and bring something, like, they got to bring it. You know what I'm saying? It just can't be some old flash in the pan and that's it. It's got to be legit. So, we'll see, man.
Yeah, man. It's the whole experience, man. Is like Smitty said, when is the last time you felt like that? I mean, Madden doesn't excite me like that. I find my own fun within it, offline. But it just doesn't, I mean, again, even if the gameplay ain't quite where we need it to be as of yet, if it had all of the immersion, it's a much better experience. And again, just think about those little bit of things that we talked about. That should be simple. NCAA's atmosphere, to me, is still captured the essence. Tell me it didn't feel like a college game when you listen to it, with the bands in the background, even the commentary. Now, of course, the commentary over time, of course, they would say some of the same things, but I'm just talking about how cohesive it was. It just felt fresh, even though, again, they would repeat stuff, but it's still, that team it seemed like they talked a lot more doing the action. You know what I mean? How they really spoke to the replays, just that little stuff. Like Smitty said, coaching carousels, coaches having abilities, the recruiting system, the depth, like in how long, how deep the dynasty could go. Just, I don't know, man. Composure, home field advantage, all of that stuff. It's those little things, man. And like I said, when you talk about depth, it's just, Madden is just missing so much, man. And who knows? We'll see. That now, they're kind of stuck on the hook, and we will see if they will actually deliver the things that they claim that they would be working on for 2022, or even though they still said, tentative. Nah, I ain't trying to hear that. Like, y'all can't drop the ball again. You're going to have to deliver on those three major things that you pointed out in that article from way back when. But didn't mean to get on a Madden tirade there, but, kind of leads us to the next topic, man. And what we'll do, let's go ahead and share the screen again, man. I want to bring in this video before I do that. In case you guys didn't see the video in its full, splendor, You may have saw the video I posted yesterday talking about this video, and some people probably you may not have gone to the description and clicked on the demo, but I wanted to give a huge shout out to Sports Gamers Online, which I did in my video yesterday. They reminded me of this. I had seen this when it came out. I had seen this back in like June, July time, but I kind of forgot about it, and I had meant to talk about it then. Also, I'll give you guys a peek into my brain when I kept saying, nah, I think there's going to be something different, excuse me, in the next gen version of Madden, because I saw this stuff that EA was working on. And I was like, yo, what if this ends up being in next gen? So that's why I was like, nah, man, I think we're going to see some changes. Now we did. Okay. We did see the next gen stat integration, and not just the overlays, but we all know now that they're using the RFID technology. And if you play it long enough, you can see it. Again, in the video that I posted, you saw the way James Conner was running. Like, that don't happen on current gen.
Right.
The players literally do move a lot better on next gen, and you get more of the player interaction on next gen. It's just that still the fundamentals of Madden's interaction system is still there. So you're not going to get what we're looking for per se, but the best of the interactions are in next gen. For instance, the tackling, where you can have 4 or 5 people pile on at times. That's the kind of stuff that I don't want to say flushed out, but they were able to push the limit a little bit in their current foundation. But what we're talking about is what you're going to see in this video. And I might bite the bullet and just play the audio. I might do it because I want people to hear what's being said. It's about a 7-something minute video. So in case you guys haven't seen it, and what the heck, if this video can't be monetized, whatever. But I want to say this. Let me pull up the name of it. So if they happen to come across it, it is SIGGRAPH 2020. It's spelled SIGGRAPH 2020. Local motion phases for learning multi-contact character movements. Sebastian Stark is who posted this video. So Sebastian, if you happen to see this, hear this, please. Not trying to monetize on your content. I'm merely actually promoting your video and just promoting this idea in which we're talking to in relevancy to Madden, EA. But as it says here, guys, it says Sebastian Stark or Starkey, University of Edinburgh in Electronic Arts. I'm going to butcher this next name. Yawi Zhao, Electronic Arts. Taku Kamura, University of Edinburgh. Kazi Zaman, Electronic Arts. Basically, what I want to preface this with, guys, is this video is showing technology that EA and University of Edinburgh is working on that basically will do all of the things you've heard us say for years in terms of player interaction and not having 2-man animation. But I don't need to say much more. Let me play the video, but let me pull it up, and I want to see, because it did tell me when I was messing with StreamYard. Hold on, let me go back. It told me how you could include audio, so I want to make sure I do that correctly. Some screens that you share audio, look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. All right, there it is, share audio. So I'm going to play a little piece of it, and I'm going to first see if Smitty is able to hear it. And if he can hear it, then we should be okay.
Characters to perform a large variety of them.
Did you hear that, Smitty? You did. All right,
Yep.
So here we are, guys. We're going to watch this entire video. We may comment on it a little bit. Let's see what happens if we full screen that thing. Good. I wanted to get that little extra out of there. All right, here goes, guys. We're going to play it from the beginning. I'm liking this little StreamYard stuff.
Controlling characters to perform a large variety of dynamic, fast-paced, and quickly changing movements is a key challenge in character animation. In this research, we present a deep learning framework to interactively synthesize such animations in high quality, both from unstructured motion data and without any manual labeling. We introduce the concept of local motion phases and show our system being able to produce various motion skills such as ball dribbling and professional maneuvers in basketball plays, shooting, catching, avoidance, multiple locomotion modes, as well as different character and object interactions, all generated under a unified framework. Different research has showcased learning basketball plays, but still achieving realistic body and ball movements, high level of detail, and responsive character control from a single model remained unsolved. Our system can satisfy those criteria, and the generated motions appear more fluent and visually appealing. In order to align character movements, a start and end reference pose is usually defined to obtain a global phase parameter. However, using such framework quickly results in mismatching poses when further movements are added. In addition, there can be numerous actions for which it is very difficult or simply unclear how to define a global phase parameter. To overcome such problems, we introduced the concept of local motion phases to align character movements at bone level in an asynchronous manner. For each bone, we first extract the contacts with the environment, followed by a window-based normalization, and apply a frequency low-pass filter to that signal. We can then fit a sinusoidal function, which returns the optimized amplitude and phase parameters to compute the motion phase vectors. This technique works.
Let me pause this real quick, guys, and sorry for that throat clear. I didn't know the mic would still be working, but please confirm in the chat that you guys can hear it. I think you can, but please confirm that because I want you guys to definitely hear this stuff. I can't explain this. I'm not a biophysicist. I don't. Yeah. All right, so here we go.
In a fully automatic fashion and does not require the animator to define handcrafted rules for each type of motion. We can apply this method identically to very different as well as non-uniform movements in our data. Ultimately, the combination of local phases jointly represents the wide variation of timings for each particular motion. We utilize a deep neural network architecture to learn and control the character motion. Given the user input, our system predicts the character state from one frame into the next in an autoregressive fashion. During preprocessing, we first extract the local motion phases using evolutionary optimization and then feed the complete set of features for the character state and control variables into a mixture of experts model. Here, the gating network dynamically computes the weights of the motion prediction network from the current phase space of the character. We further develop the generative control scheme that enriches the variety of motions that can be generated from high-level user control signals. Our complete network is trained using 3 hours of motion capture data. To train the network, we first extract the locomotion trajectory as well as different action labels from the data. We further compute the contact labels for the ball and end effector joints. We also compute vectors around the character to control various ball interactions and maneuvers. Finally, we extract information about the relative pose and trajectory of an opponent character to learn different player interactions. After training, the user can freely control the character locomotion from slow to fast movements, smooth turning, as well as quick spinning maneuvers.
Y'all seeing this?
The network can also generate very sharp turns and is robust to quickly changing user control inputs. The character control is responsive and allows the user to immediately speed up or stop moving. Using the generative control scheme, we can further create different dribbling behaviors from randomly sampled noise vectors. By controlling the interaction vectors around the character, the user can create different motions of switching the ball between hands and front or behind the body. We can also create professional dribbling maneuvers by controlling these vectors in a more advanced fashion. The character can also combine such actions while avoiding obstacles on its path. When instructing the character to hold the ball, the network creates a smooth transition and allows the user to freely move the ball around. We can also make the character collect the ball from the ground while running. In order to let the character shoot or catch the ball, we simulate the ball movement via physics when it is not controlled by the character. Our system is then also able to naturally adapt the motion to different physics-generated ball trajectories. The character again can avoid obstacles on its path while running after the ball. The network also responds well to sudden or unexpected changes in the ball movement. We can also make the character perform different movements before shooting the ball into the basket and catching it again. When the player gets close to an opponent that is controlled by another player, both characters will naturally adjust their movements. The attacker can then attempt to steal the ball from the dribbling player. The characters can also create behaviors to block an opponent or to protect the ball from the other player. Also, when holding the ball with a near opponent, the character will try to keep the ball at a safe distance. Comparing the phase function neural network that uses a global phase to align character movements with our system, it shows difficulties learning the asynchronous movements among different parts of the body. This results in stiff movements during various detailed animations. Using an LSTM is another candidate solution for learning such time series data. However, those tend to suffer from strong unresponsiveness or missing detail for dynamic character control.
Somebody say he
The
traveled.
mode adaptive neural network cannot model back or side walking well, as it has no access to the face, although moving straight forward produces plausible results. We now show the learned correlation between the local body faces and movements of the body parts. While deactivating the lower body faces eliminates locomotion but still enables interactions with the ball, the opposite can be observed when deactivating the upper body faces. We can now also apply the same framework to quadruped animation, and our network can learn with different modes of locomotion, including pace, trot, and canter in high quality. The local motion phases are automatically extracted from the data, and the network can smoothly transition between modes from the given velocity. We can also make our system learn character scene interactions, like approaching and sitting on chairs, by additionally including a face for the hip movement. Learning the face space to pick up an object, carrying it around, and again placing it down at a chosen location is doable as well. In summary, we present a unified framework to learn various contact-rich and dynamic character movements, as well as actions and interactions in high quality using local motion phases.
Wow. Here's my point with this whole thing. We always say that we don't give feedback on things that we don't think is possible. And then if we're told that it's impossible, then we'll make an adjustment. But now, EA, Electronic Arts, is working on a technology that can produce those type of behaviors and movements and interactions. I don't want to hear it from nobody at EA that would dare say to me, man, you're asking for too much as far as the interactions at the catch point or the way they interact in the trench. Can you imagine that in the trenches? Learning which way the guy's going and DB and wide out interactions. Not even at the catch point. I mean, off the line, you trying to where dudes will organically get beat or they will win. And then you still can factor in, you still got to tie ratings into it. But the thing is, AI is AI. How the players collide and interact is how they interact. This right here, if it ever showed up in a Madden or a college football game, this is revolutionary. We ain't never seen nothing quite like that. And then let's say you get the physics right on top of it. Come on, man. And I know the pessimist always out there in my videos, Smitty. Oh, this ain't never gonna happen anyway. I don't know why you guys keep. My question to people like that is, why you continue to watch dumb videos? Like, I never understand that. Now, cool. If you supporting me and you supporting Smitty when he does his stuff, or you support us together, okay. But I don't get that mentality. It don't cost none of us anything to hope we get a better product from EA Sports, 2K Sports, SDS. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost anything. Like, I don't understand why people get so wrapped up on that side of things. You're just wasting your time. What time? How long does it take for us to do a video? And to hope that maybe one day we get a breakthrough. Maybe one day EA gets it together and they deliver us a great football game. And then who's complaining then? Like, who's complaining if they actually delivered a fantastic Madden? So I just don't get that. Now, I understand, be very, cautious, like how we are. Madden and my book with me, they don't have any credit. Like, if I was a bar, they can't come in there and put it on the tab. Nah.
Being like,
I need that player. I need that. I'm cashing you out right now. Like, no,
right.
You ain't got no credit with me. You got to build that up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I can't still try to convince the only, mega football game in town to make me a great game. So I just, again, and I'm not telling people how to act. I just don't understand that mentality. Like, if you're done with it, be done with it. But why? To me, I feel like you spend as much time as I spend making the videos by coming to each video and commenting, saying how much you don't believe in it. And it's weird. It's just weird, guys. It's just weird. That's all I'm saying. Last thing I will say on it. Do I think this actually happens? I don't know. I do feel like they're working on it for a reason. Here's the reason why I think you might see it in Madden and or the college football game. What did we see in the demo? What were they showing us? Basketball. If EA is working on it, you would think, it's an obvious choice that it would be an NBA Live. Which studio makes NBA Live? Well, at least up until now, it was EA Tiburon, which is where Madden is at. So automatically, it would seem as if, since we always say how EA Tiburon seems to do everything the opposite of EA Canada, you would think that both Madden and Live and whatever other game that they're producing would have this technology. So that's one thing to be optimistic about, is if they perfect it. And I know, some of you guys were joking around saying, oh, he traveled. I know those are just jokes. But at the end of the day, it's still tech that's being, worked on. And I'm sure we won't see it until it's somewhat perfected, yada, yada.
Right.
But I'm telling you now, man, what if we look up one day and we got stuff like that? You got me. You talking about potentially taking away not canned animation, but canned outcomes?
Yeah.
Now we got a football game. So here's to me being optimistic on maybe one day what we asked for could really happen, because they're showing us a demo, a prototype of what could produce that outcome. So no longer am I walking around wondering, man, I wonder if they could ever. No. As soon as I saw that language went out the window. I'm like, oh yeah, they can do it. They can definitely do it. Now it's a question of, will they do it? So
right.
That's what I got on it.
Man, shoot. I'll say, well, first of all, there was a guy that gave a donation, Antoine Hill, $2 donation.
Antoine.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that, brother. You see what I got? You see that, Antoine? You already know. You already know. It's my fellow Sixer fan and fellow Steeler fan right there.
He said true regarding what you were saying, like when you were talking earlier on. And he said, but 2K is still way ahead of EA. That is true.
They are, yeah.
But
shoot, let 2K get a hold of that.
Yo.
Yo. Oh my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, but EA, if EA were to put that into their products, they'll significantly close the gap just like that. I mean, drastically close the core gameplay like that, and you get it functioning right. No way. Like what Sim said, why organic trench play, organic wideout DB interaction, organic sacks, organic players throwing out of sacks. Like you really can truly replicate it in a natural sense and not here's that cat animation. Or like what Vic Lugo and all those guys talked about back then with Madden 13, all the Infinity Engine, the play doesn't stop, because the can animation element is now gone. So it's like there's this dynamic now that you have. And if you are able to take that dynamic to another level, yes, you really will have a game where you'll have players fall on top of a pile, spin around, get back up, and it'll look extremely natural looking instead of robotic looking, or it's like, because like how it looked with the Infinity Engine. Sim and I, we've had plays even when we was at the studio. We had play. Well, I know I had a play where it was like, dude got tackled, fell on top of the pile, and then he was just laying there, and he didn't naturally get up. He just like kind of sprung back up and kept going a little bit longer. And it's like, when you can actually program behavior, like it was said in the video, they took a few hours, programmed the behavior to get accustomed to itself, and then that's it.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they can get the behaviors of football in there, route running, trench play, teammate avoidance, fighting through tackles. Hey, let's train this running back to always do the best he can to stay upright. There it is there. So then what happens when you factor in defenders and you factor them in, just like they had with the basketball clip? What happens when you factor in a defender? Oh, now they're naturally or turn their shoulder a certain direction. They're going to keep automatically dribble the ball to the other hand, even with two users like we saw in the demo. Oh, they're going to naturally try to avoid. They're going to try to protect the ball. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. So think about that. Think about that when you're talking about in a football game in Madden where you got those traits, braces for all hits, braces for some hits. You may not even have to use that. Now it's just natural. You see what I'm saying? Like, if he sees the traffic coming, he's going to brace for it. If he don't see it coming or whatever, clink, he'll get tagged.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it'll be natural. It'll naturally, just like how we talk about Backbreaker. You know what I'm saying? And what Backbreaker did for us back then as well. Look at how natural those tackles look. I mean, yeah, you had some wonky plays, but this was a game that didn't have weight, didn't have height, and look at how natural those tackles looked. You know what I'm saying? What if they had weight and they had things programmed to that level of behavior? That's the kind of stuff we would have had, but this was a game that was done back in 2009, 2010?
Yeah.
So it's like, for EA to have a system, and it makes sense, have the bone structures, things like that, because now you got to be able to program an injury system. You know what I'm saying? So, and see, that's the other thing too. What happens with the organic injuries, i.e., like how it is in FIFA, or how it's been in FIFA?
Yeah.
Specific limbs based upon how hard they're hit, how much faster they're hit, how quickly a player gets put on their back or something like that. All of that can be factored in. And then that's the thing too. And look, I don't know if EA would ever do it based upon. Hey, we'll see if this ESBC boxing game comes through.
Boy,
That's you say here to make a fight night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fight night will. I guarantee you, fight night will return. If these dudes make these guys, and I'll just say this real quick. Those ESBC guys are aiming for this game to be a good esport. They're not making this game to just be some one-trick pony. They're making this game because they want it to hit. That's why they're putting so much into it. Like, oh, the boxing lists and the legends and all that. Yeah, we ain't done. It's not over. They clearly said that. They're like, it ain't over. There's a lot more they're going to add. But the bottom line I'm getting at is, if this game pops, don't be surprised if you see EA come back and do a boxing game. And I mean, it would definitely make sense. You know, it definitely would make sense, especially with that locomotion system. If they still rocking with the UFC, oh man. And that's the whole thing. You can look at all the sports. UFC, boxing making a return, NBA Live, Madden, freaking NHL, FIFA, all the games should be nuts. And that would be phenomenal. I'll be like, yes. Because see, at the end of the day, when you make core gameplay in an organic fashion, like it's truly organic in its nature, you can't cheese that.
Exactly.
That's the key thing.
There's no meta.
Yeah, you can't make that. There's no meta build. You can't say this is the build. This is the meta team. This is the no. I could play with the Lions. Somebody could go online with the Jaguars the way they are right now. Play with them against the Chiefs. I'm not saying that the likelihood of winning would be great, but the bottom line is you can play 10, 15 different games, and each one of them will have various things that may be different because of the organic nature of how the game would play, flow, and run just in general. That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? You said they just added Frazier?
Yeah,
really?
Frazier been there though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had announced Joe Frazier a while back.
Oh, okay. All right.
And shout outs to the donation, man. He keeps coming with him.
He's coming through with him. So shout out, man. Antoine Hill. Big up to you. But yeah, so that's what I'm just saying, guys. Like, this tech is awesome. It's by EA, but okay. And like what what my man D Dot is saying there, in theory, because look, what EA has done, like this article that I was seeing from earlier on today, where EA they shut down production of this game called Gaia. They shut it down. And they've been working on the game for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And this was a game that they talked about in their EA Play thing last year. You know, the video, the stream, and it was like, oh, we can't wait for you guys to be able to play it because we needed the power of the next gen consoles to really bring this game to life and all that. So they shown like a small snippet of the game, but 5 years of working on the game, and EA has shut it completely down. And see, this is what I'm saying. EA can make that kind of move and end up doing that. And it's the same thing, just like you saw what happened with Anthem. Not a surprise with Anthem because that was horrendous what they did. But they shut down. They made the decision to stop continuing on with that game, and they shut it completely down. They're not going to revamp it. They're not going to do any of that. They're just going to eat the L and keep on moving. So, but this is what I'm saying.
Wonder how AJ is making out. That just reminded me of that.
Oh, well, the thing is, BioWare is the one that messed up. Not EA.
Oh, okay.
Because, so that's not AJ on that one. So I'm happy for that, Glenn. Thank God for that. I mean, I feel bad for the dev team and everything. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like that was this horrible, horrible situation. Like they didn't even know what they were going to be making until a little bit under like a hair over a year before the game was supposed to ship. So that's crazy. But yeah. So I'll make that point. I'll bring up the point about the game cancellation because this is the kind of stuff that EA can mess around and do. They could be like, yeah, you guys see that tech and it's nice in concept, but then they can mess around and scrap it. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that EA might mess around and do. It's just like, oh, no, we're going to go with something else. Nice concept, though, but we're not going to do it that way. So we got to wait and see. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's the bad part about it. We got to wait and see. And I mean, listen, I know people, just like some people saying about that boxing game and saying that it's already going to be hot. Talking about OG and him going back to EA, so that means live is back. Listen, until there's an official announcement, I don't know what OG is there for. And I talked to OG. I chat.
I don't think live back, man. I honestly don't.
I'm not.
I think he's working on something else.
Yeah, he could be. He could very well be. So that's what I'm just saying. Like, I'm not gonna say much. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what the true circumstance is. So it's like, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? But like the point I'm making is that just like that ESBC boxing, listen, we haven't played it yet. As somebody said in here, like, oh yeah, that game's fire. We don't know if it's gonna be fire.
Facts.
We still gotta see. We actually see. That's once again, we're gonna have a chance to get our hands-on quality time playing this game. But right now, we don't know. We could play the game, and they even after all the stuff they said, oh, we revamped the gameplay mechanics and the punching is more fluid and everything else. It could still look terrible to us. We don't know.
That's right.
We gotta wait and see. You know what I mean? Like we have no idea. We're banking a lot on seeing that player movement system and everything from the first video and stuff like that to translate that hopefully into the gameplay. Like, yeah, we gotta wait and see on that. I don't know. So that's what I'm just saying. Like, we always say curb the expectations, but in this case, there's nothing wrong being optimistic. But like all the other things, I take it somewhat with a grain of salt. But if this is honest and comes true, oh my gosh, it's about to be nuts. So we'll see.
Man, I hope. That's all I could do is hope.
Right.
If they deliver on that, man. Wow. Break them down says EA is supposed to release something in March 2nd. What could that be?
Oh.
Let's think about that. It's not NCAA. Definitely not. There was a time when we used to receive Madden news as early as late March, while back. Then it started becoming April, and then it started being later and later and later. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I don't know. Now let me ask you this: break them down because I didn't see this. Was it EA or is it EA Sports? Because that makes a big difference. Whether it was EA or EA Sports. But yeah, I'm not sure what that could be. Could be that.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
All right, yeah. Could be the patch, man. Because I definitely know that's coming. Supposedly the third franchise patch. And it's not going to be anything big. It's they've basically been following the script of what they told us. Right, way back when they said, oh, we got these plans. and they follow suit. Shout outs to my guy Eric Rayweather, man. I saw him do a video earlier today. I haven't watched it yet. And actually, no, I won't cut it on here, but you know, he did say, let me read the title of his video. Surprise update for Madden 21 adds more to the game. Now, if you guys have watched Eric before, he usually does Madden information, Madden news. A lot of times he will, you know, talk about each title update that comes out, breaks it down, but then also he will sometimes have a title like this where he's telling you what is expected to come. So maybe he's referring to this news that they're supposed to drop on the 2nd. It's very possible that that's what this video is about, or there may have been a surprise update that's already there. So my guess is that maybe that's what he's talking about, but maybe what some of you guys can elaborate. Oh, there it is. Cliff Neal says Eric Mayweather made a video on it. I think it has something to do with Matt. Yeah, so I'm going to check that out, man, and see if he's referring to, you know, what they are expecting to come out, or if there was already a surprise update. What was the other comment there? King Arthur, what's up, man? He says, I just tuned in. Can you revisit what the new tech is supposed to be real quick? Well, basically, man, let me share the screen again. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but let me just show you what was played earlier. Give me a moment. And this time I'll mute it and I'll kind of fast forward through it. We won't include audio this time. But as you can see on the screen here, man, basically EA is working with this company, University of Edinburgh. And what they're looking to do is they're looking to introduce this new technology. Let me play it here. It focuses on local motion. See, as you can see it right here, local motion phases for learning multi-contact character movements. Let me post a link to the video here just so you can go check it out. But basically, the skinny of it, man, is, and I'll show you a small piece of it here. You know, they're basically showcasing, you know, what they're projecting to do with the locomotion as well as player interaction, avoiding the pre-canned outcomes because the players will be thinking on the fly, interacting on the fly based on environment. But like I said, I posted the link in the description. You can go check that out because don't want to play the full video here because we had already played it. Let's see. Cliff Neal says could be EA Play as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a number of things, man, that could be happening on March 2nd. It could very well be EA Play or something like that. But we'll see. But outside of that, guys, I don't really have anything else, man. I'll double check with Smitty. I think that's probably all we got for this show. And here we are about to wrap up right around 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Is anything else that comes to mind?
I don't know if you said this when I was away. I'll just respond to Cliff. What he said about Madden 21. See, the thing I understand is, even if this is something they implement, you gotta understand that what they did with Madden 21 could be more of a base level. And then they could take it up even further next year.
Yeah.
So it's like if they're really going for something that truly emulates that system, it you know, that's something that they could definitely build all the way out. You know what I'm saying? Like what my man King Arthur is saying, Madden 22 removes the canned sequences. Like, I don't think this is something. Think about it, guys, and I'll say this real quick. I'll just be real quick with it because I know we got to get out of here, man. But think about it like the automotive industry, right? And you got you working on Chargers and F-150s. Let's just take an F-150. It comes out every single year. You're not going to blow it out the frame every single year with innovative technological advancements, things like that, right? But but as we all know, it's like every few years, it may be 3, 5, 6 years, whatever, they make this big leap, or they redesign the vehicle, or they added features and packages that they wouldn't possibly have before. You know what I'm saying? And they put it in there now. So it's the same kind of thing when you're looking at the games and all that, right? When you talk about Madden 22, like removing the canned sequences, that would be phenomenal. But they got to build their game up to a point where they can leap. It's just like how it was back when they were innovative with PS2 and Xbox days. As you noticed, they didn't get it until Madden 04. Madden 04 was like the big leap. Owner mode, you know what I mean? They had the big thing there. Then Madden 05, they took the leap even further with Tony Bruno and all that stuff. And it's like you can make those big leaps once you build your game up to a point where you can keep on leaping. You're taking those steps. Now you can start taking jumps here, jump there. And then, hey, this is the year where we could really take a leap. That's essentially what they got to do. Now, we don't know at what point that'll be, but I highly doubt that may be this stuff we're talking about right here, may be something you may not see until a Madden 23, Madden 24. Like when they can, and what I mean by that is where they can truly live that vision out. And this is a key thing, if they are even able to honestly do it. That's the key thing. If they're enabled and empowered to honestly do it. Just like what my man Rex Dixon said, we talked about it last week on the show, what he had tweeted out about, man, don't worry about the money. The money will come. Just make the entertaining experience for the people to enjoy. That's all you need to do. Just focus on that. If EA came out talking with that kind of energy and that kind of emphasis, that's where we would be. Like I could believe this. I could believe something like this would come a lot sooner than later. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe the tune is changing where they're going to start doing that. But at this moment in time, it's like that tech demo looks amazing. But it wouldn't surprise me if Madden does not see something like that. Now, NBA Live, I could definitely see that. Not because it's basketball, but because they're trying to get Madden. They're trying to get Live to a place where it's actually profitable. Their mobile game is profitable, but their console game is not profitable, regardless of how they approach it right at this moment. So that's the key thing with that. So it's a great point that you guys are making. I'm not saying you guys said anything wrong. I'm just saying, like, if we're looking at EA and how they actually move, or like the devs would be all on board with just making things happen, but their bosses and their bosses have to be the ones that give the green light as far as how far they're able to go. So we'll have to see.
We need John Legend and Andre 3000 to come through. Give me that green light. My whack singing skills. But man, I will say this too, man. We're in on a final note. Don't not believe your own opinion when it comes to games, right? This is a strong opinion I have, and some of you guys agree, some of you don't. But pay attention to that RFID technology that they did deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to the player movement. Pay attention to the more interactivity that you see on next gen. Again, foundation is still there. You just saw it in my video yesterday where I was talking about, how they made the DB kind of catch up and not necessarily a speed boost. What that was the two-man beginning. So since the two-man had to start, then they put them together instead of allowing it to play out. Deontay Johnson was ahead of him. That should have been a catch, or maybe he drops it, but it shouldn't have been a PBU. And that's what this technology would eliminate. But look at what is actually in Next Gen Madden. We said it when the game dropped, and I'm going to keep saying it. That movement, and now we know the RFID technology is there. I don't think it is spread across the entire but I think it's there on a surface level. But this is what we're saying. They can even do something with that going forward. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention, man. I think things are changing. It's still always going to come down to what the boss is. Again, the green light. What are they going to allow them to push forward and do? You know, so. But yeah, man, it's not as, to me, again, I will openly say this with no shame at all. It's not as bad as some would say. You know, you play it offline, game, all right. You know, it's not great, but you see, the biggest word I come away with, you see the potential in, well, oh, okay, look, this game could actually be something if they eliminate the canned outcomes, canned sequencing. They make, you know, interaction more realistic as far as, you know, one-to-one. You make physics more prevalent. Then this is there we go. You know, it's not like the game is the worst football game ever. It's just that Madden has these frustrating moments that most of the time make a lot of us take a break from it. Like, same reason why I'm not necessarily playing in my PS4 league. I just, you know, I can't. I had to step back and take a break away from the Sim Standard League. I just couldn't. You know, next gen is the better experience, and there's no way that I could go through another cycle of some of the. And listen, this is not a knock to anybody, but most people figure out what works and what doesn't work in Madden, not necessarily football. And I have a bad habit of not knowing how to play Madden, even in a game that's not fully simulation. That's how I play. I don't do meta. I don't cheese. You know, I try to play football. And a lot of the league games I did actually win off of football principles. But then there's always these guys that figured out they know exactly when the safety is going to stop. And, you know, it's too much to be trying to keep up with. You can't be everywhere.
Right.
You know, you should be able to call a defense. And if you have adequate guys there, at least give them the effort. But guys shouldn't be able to just throw it over the top because they know what it is. If you actually called this certain coverage, the dude is just going to go there and stand for, you know, it's just, I couldn't deal with that. And, you know, the boost that you get when your team is winning in your record and it favors you in the the dice roll situation. It's just a lot that goes on in that game, man, that they have to break that chain away for it to really feel like Smitty said about, you know, the esports boxing club, where it really feels like an esport game, like they're making this a strategic game even against another user. If they get back to those roots, then we'll see. But until then, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. New Orleans and brought the score back a little bit. The Bucks and the Pelicans are on for anybody who cares. But yeah, man, I don't have anything else, man. I guess we can get out of here. So again, guys, I think it's worth the sacrifice of not having the what do you call it, the alerts for this show. I really like this look, man. It's very clean. Me and Smitty didn't drag or anything tonight. You know, I really like how this. I even like the feature how we can share the screen. Like, so I think this is the way to go, and we're going to keep it going on StreamYard. Shout outs to my man VF, First and Frame Rates, man. He suggested it too because they use it on their show. So, you know, I really appreciate that suggestion. So I think this is the way we're going to go, guys. So if we miss a donation or something like that, we apologize. We just can't hear it anymore, as opposed to having to look over in the chat section. So, but all right, that's all I got, man. Anything else, Smitty?
No, that's all I got, man. I ain't got nothing else. You know, appreciate everybody coming through and hanging out here with us. And yeah, man, you know, I don't know. Since it's the end of the month, I don't know when ESBC, when them boys said they was gonna drop another update. I thought they said it was gonna come with an update toward the end of the month, regarding that boxing game. So as far as a gameplay, I think they said as far as possibly a gameplay trailer and maybe a release date. So
maybe a release date, yeah.
Maybe next week we'll have some details on that. So we definitely will talk about that. Based upon what may or may not be unveiled at that point in time. But yeah, that's really honestly at this point in time, that's the hottest. That's the ticket. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this game is about. And I just can't emphasize enough. I love the fact this is not coming out on console and it's coming out on PC first, because they can wholesale change this game as far as gameplay
they want.
Need to.
Yep.
If there are things that people say, oh, I'm really feeling XYZ, and people really give that feedback legitimately, they can do all those changes with no certification from Microsoft, none of that. They could be like, oh, okay, we looked at the forum, okay, bet y'all, that's what's up, bet, let's change it. And they could keep on doing it, tweaking it, and changing it. And then when the game is honestly ready to go, then they could go on to the next stage. So that's why I said, anyone that's been on Steam or anything like that, you got games that have been in early access for 2, 3, some cases 5, 6 years, still in early access phase. But they've steadily updated the game all throughout all that time. It's not like they just sat on their hands. Like they've legit updated the games. So I love that part. But yeah, so I can't wait to hear about more details on that. Like, I want to hear some meat and potato stuff. I love the announcements of the boxers. I love all that. But I want to see how the game is actually going to flow. That's what we need to see. I mean, I know we're not going to see hands-on yet, but still, I want to see how it flows. And then they give us that street date. Man, that would be perfect. So
I'm ready. I'm signed up for Steam. I'm just ready for them to. Oh, well, speaking of that, I'm also signed up on what do you call it? The test for MLB, the show.
And
that should be, what's the date? Hold on, I'll tell you guys right now. But of course, I won't be able to show it, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but it'll be live on, where's the date? I mean, I'm assuming I could talk about it, but there will be rules. I won't be able to stream. I'm already behind. It was the 23rd. I thought it was later this week. So it's from the 23rd to March 1st. So let me get cracking. And I can download what will be playable. And again, it doesn't look like I can't say anything. I just know it said I can't stream. It says you do not stream. You'll be suspended. Blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't do that anyway. But what will be available is some stuff in Diamond Dynasty and Battle Royale. So at least I get to get my hands on that. So I'm going to download that maybe tomorrow and see what that be like. But all right, guys. Kia, what's up, man? We about to sign off, but nonetheless, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. And we will catch you guys next week. Everybody stay safe. Be blessed. We'll catch you later. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.